Bastian woke to the gentle rocking of the sea. For an instant, he thought he was back in his own bed. He jolted in surprise at his unfamiliar surroundings, and his predicament flooded back to him. The sounds of seagulls, crashing waves, and singing men encircled him. His legs were sore and cramped, and one of his arms had fallen asleep. He massaged it while he gained his bearings. He took out his pocket watch. It was already late afternoon, the hour of Karmithos, the Karma Keeper. The sailors on the lines high above him were singing with strong accents as they adjusted the sails for the changing wind. "Haul on the ropes, boys, raising all the sails, boys. Haul on the ropes, boys, the ropes now haul. Haul on the ropes, men, out to sea and back again. Haul on the ropes, men, the ropes now haul. Haul on the ropes, lads, there's treasure waiting to be had. Haul on the ropes, lads, the ropes now haul." Bastian braved a peek around the barrels obscuring him. There were 3 large masts littered with open sails. Each mast's surface was covered with detailed carvings of giant sea creatures, mermaids, selkies, and legends of Davy Jones. The craft was heavily gunned with cannons lining either side of the deck. One thing was certain: whoever owned this ship had a very successful business and cargo worth protecting. Bastian couldn't recall having seen the vessel before. He recognized most of the traffic that came and went from Weststock's port, and knew he would have remembered this one. The men he could see were dressed in eclectic garb. Most of them wore baggy fisherman pants tucked into knee-high leather boots, with colourful scarves around their waists or thick belts over loose cotton shirts. Some wore vests and were adorned with fine jewellery. Suddenly, the hairs on the back of Bastian's neck stood on end, and he could feel eyes on him. "What have we here?" a gruff voice asked. Bastian looked up into a large round face with a thick black beard. The man was grinning down at him. Bastian put up his hands in a gesture of surrender. "I mean no harm. I am seeking refuge," he declared. The sailor stared at him for a moment, as if he thought he might be joking. When Bastian's serious expression didn't falter, he erupted into hearty laughter. "You're seeking refuge, you say? Seeking refuge on the Black Mary?" The Black Mary? Why did that name sound familiar? Bastian wondered. "Yes, if I could just speak to the captain, then I can explain everything." "Oh, you'll speak to the captain, all right. Don't you worry about that." "Wait till the lads get a load of this," the sailor said, laughing heartily. He bent down and grabbed Bastian by the scruff of his jacket and lifted him over the barrels. "I'm perfectly capable of walking on my own," he protested. He had a bad feeling about this, and began to wonder what he'd gotten himself into this time. Could they be slavers? He speculated with growing dread. Soon they reached the quarterdeck, where a small crowd of curious sailors formed around them. "Oi, Rhino, what have you got there?" "Can we eat him?" "Nah, look at him. Wouldn't be any good. The lad doesn't have an inch of fat on him." "That don't matter. Doc can boil his bones to make us a nice broth," the men jeered. Bastian started to feel sick to his stomach. His immediate instinct was to jump ship and escape like he always had. But there was nowhere to go. Even if the water wasn't freezing, there was no land in sight, and every sailor around him was armed to the teeth. Any sense of security or control that he'd felt over the situation was long gone. Just as his fear was beginning to escalate, a gunshot split the air, and everyone's voices fell.